evening and a warm welcome to all the participants joining us today. This webinar is the inaugural ceremony of the certificate course on child rights law, which is organized by the Institute of Legal Studies and Research, ILSR, GLA University, Mathura, with technical collaboration of Independent Thoughts. My name is Surbhi Sharma, Assistant Professor of Law at ILSR, Deputy Head of the Children Law Research Center, and your anchor for today. So to start with the ceremony, I would like to introduce Professor Avinash. He's the Dean and Professor of Law at Institute of Legal Studies and Research. His area of specialization are global competition law, global anti-corruption, fraud law, regulation of artificial intelligence and robotics. In the course of his legal and investigative experience, he worked with a number of big corporates to address issues pertaining to competition law, fraud, bribery, and corruption. He also worked with the Competition Commission of India on a number of high-profile investigations. He has his LLM degree from France and PhD from UK. A hearty welcome to you, sir. And now I request you for your welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, Surbhi. Thank you very much. So first of all, I would like to thank all participants, students, and our guests. See, I won't speak much because what I believe that this entire show belongs to experts. And obviously, I'm not the expert in this particular area. But still, I would like to say a few words that why we are doing it. So first, I would like to introduce my law school. So Institute of Legal Studies and Research, GLA University, we are situated in Mathura. And it's a small town, as you know, very famous, but very small town. And in this small town, we are trying to build a different type of law school. So when I say different type of law school, obviously, then we are not talking about only the traditional areas where most of the law schools are focusing, but we are trying to collaborate with industry people to develop quality research centers. So like, for example, we have collaborated with Vikram ji, and we started this particular center for children. And our objective that our students must be employable in market, but at the same time, they must be socially responsible. Because without having social responsibility, I believe that a law graduate is a very, very dangerous product for the society. I'm sorry to use this particular very hard word like the danger, because the lawyers or judges or the law professors, we have huge responsibility. Our job is not just to participate in this justice delivery mechanism, but to guide the society, okay? And this role must start from the law school. So under this center, the objective of this particular center is that we want to create legal awareness. And after the legal awareness, we want to train our students so that they can go in society, educate people, create legal awareness, and then find their problems and try to solve those problems with the help of experts in the center, District Legal Service Authority, UP State Legal Service Authority. So we want more actionable research in our university, in our law school. And last year, we introduced trimester model in my law school. And under the trimester model, out of 4 papers in every trimester, our students are writing or doing 2 moot courts, 1 research paper. So these activities are very much common in other law schools also. But one paper out of 4 papers, and out of 12, 3 papers every year, they have to do a social project. So under the social project, whatever they learn in law school, they need to go outside, train 20 people in the society. Okay. So this social project is basically aiming to create socially responsible legal professionals. So following this approach, our students are going in small villages, towns, cities, schools, colleges, housing societies, and educating and creating legal awareness. So this is the objective of this particular center, and the entire credit, before anybody gives me any credit, I must say very clearly that I have done nothing for this particular center. The entire credit must go to Vikramji, his team, the Independent Thoughts, and Surbi and her team. My role as a dean was basically just, making their life easy, because in a university system, as you know, that things are a little bit complicated sometimes. So my role as a dean is very simple, that they should work in a most efficient manner without any, procedure hurdle. Otherwise, my role is nothing. And I must say thanks to Vikramji that you are doing a great job. And through this center, through this certificate program, we are going to start our action now. And obviously, we have made a very strategic list of activities which we are going to implement in next 3 years, which includes not only this type of certificate programs, but a lot of action-based research, policy research, training to lawyers, judges, police officers. So obviously our aim is very high, and this is our first baby step. So I must congratulate you, and I must say good luck to you. And finally, I would like to say thanks to all our esteemed guests, Professor Manoj Kumarji. I think this is a great privilege for us, such a small and a dynamic law school, to have you here, sir. I have heard you many times in my life. I think since 14, 15 years, I'm following your intellectual work, especially in international human rights laws. I still remember your lectures at the Institute of, Indian Society of International Law, ISIL. Obviously, I was your student in 2005 or 2004. So it's a great privilege for us to have you here. And then other speakers, other guests, really thanks to you, because you found your time even on Saturday, and you gave your consent to share your knowledge and wisdom. My only request that this should be the beginning one. Okay. We are not interested only in a certificate program, because certificate program is just a humble beginning. We are more interested in action-focused research, policy intervention, and creating impact in the society through this research center, through this particular training center. Okay, so with these words, now I think I say that now the experts should lead. As a journalist, my role is over here. So I will be here in this entire program, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. To further proceeding with the seminar, to introduce our very center, Children Law Research Center, I would like to invite Advocate Vikram Srivastava. He has 20 years of experience in human rights law and development at urban, rural, as well as scheduled area. He has a strong working and theoretical groundings on human rights, child rights, and governance issues. He has been involved in various roles, including policy drafting, legal interventions, research, training and advocacy, program implementations, monitoring and evaluation, campaigns, and list is endless. He is a regular writer and has 2 books and several articles in his name. He is the founder of Independent Thought. This is a national human rights organization working towards equity, justice, and mutual respect. We are delighted to have you, sir, and I would like you to take the platform to introduce the center.
Thank you so much, Surbi. And as Professor Avinash has already shared about the collaboration which we have been doing with GLA, so I'm more part of the GLA team now, as the center is hosted by the GLA team. And I take from where Dr. Avinash ended, that it's a privilege to have such a nice gathering today. And before I name them individually, let me share a little about the center which we have conceived. So the GLA University and Independent Thought, we have the Children Law Research Center is an idea which we have thought of for the last 1 year. and now it has been concretized as a kind of a partnership. And this is one of the flagship programs which we have initiated as the certificate course on child rights law. And this is purely based on my own experiences on the ground and in different ways I engage with child rights law work. And the realization was that many of the people who are part of the child rights work domain, many times they also struggle when it comes to pure law. And the multiplicity of law when it comes to children has increased so much in the last 20 years that even having a grasp on all the laws is very hard for even lawyers like me. So we thought that we should give a kind of very focused program on child rights law, which benefits both academicians and practitioners on the ground, so that they can approach the issues of children from a more holistic manner and understand in totality how child rights jurisprudence has evolved in the last 20 years. So that was the idea behind initiating this course. And this is first in the series, and we are expecting that in the later series we will get more responses and more feedbacks from people, so that we can better the course every time we relaunch it. So with those words, I'd like to welcome all the dignitaries today and the key speakers and chief guests, starting with Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Sinha, Director, Indian Law Institute. So we will be sharing more about him, but he has always been there as kind of a guide and mentor for independent thought. And towards this partnership also, we seek his blessings and support. Dr. Anjaya Pandiri is the Executive Director of Childline India Foundation. He is expected to join, but today he has left for some village and he's in a remote place. So there might be some technical glitch, but he said he will be trying hard to join. And Dr. Anjaya Pandiri, who heads the Childline India Foundation, I must tell all the participants, Childline India Foundation is world's largest child protection organization with over 1,000 partners across the country and caters to n number of issues of children, and is one of the NGOs who has a kind of a statutory recognition under the JJ Act. So it's a very, very critical organization when it comes to dealing with law and children. Then we have Mr. Subrato Day. He is the country head, Christian Aid Afghanistan, and we were glad to have him on the platform. He also has a lot of experiences in India on working on research and other issues of developmental issues. So we would love to listen to him also. And we have Advocate Rosie Taba Gongo. She's member of National Commission on Protection of Child Rights. She will be joining in a while by 6:30. She said she will be joining. So she also brings in a lot of experience on Northeast. She was previously member there, so she will enlighten us on various aspects of child rights. And finally, we have Dr. Rinchin Chopal. He is the Secretary General of SIVAC. SIVAC is a SARC level intergovernmental body. And presently, he is member of the UN CRC committee, and he represents Asia and Southeast Asia for children. So he's also a voice for children in the UN, and he's there for next 4-5 years. So his presence will be very critical for everyone, and we are very grateful to all these people who have been joining. I'll just like to name people who are going to be part of the course and who will be who have agreed to share their time and expertise with the students during the course. And so we will be listening to Ritvika. Ritvika has some 20 years of experience. She is a master's in social work from TIS and has a very, very strong research background. Then Dr. Manoj Kumar Sinha will be there. Then Professor Uday Shankar will be there. He is in IIT Kharagpur. He is an associate professor of law. He will be touching upon constitution. He is an expert on constitution. Then we have Advocate Ashutosh Srivastava. He is presently with the Ministry of Law and Justice. He has done a lot of work with on different aspects of child rights. Then we will have Ranjana Srivastava. She is ex-CWC member, and she has been working on child rights research and other things for last almost like 20 years now. Then we have Dr. Professor Kumar Askand Pandey. So he is an expert on juvenile justice and POCSO. He has written several books. He is presently working with the National Law School, Lucknow, Ramanoel Loya. Then we have Ms. Nupur. She is presently working with Oxfam. Earlier, she was the executive director of NCE, National Coalition for Education. So she has a very strong understanding and experience on Right to Education Act. Then we have Advocate Leena Prasad. She has over 20 years of experience on various aspects of child and women laws issues. She's a practicing lawyer and works very focused on child rights. Then we have Sabri Ghosh. She's an expert on disability and child rights, and she comes with a very strong social work background. Counseling has been a part of her regular work. So she will bring in, apart from the legal aspect of disability, she'll also bring the nuances of day-to-day functioning and the challenges these children face. Then we have Dr. Kumar Raka. He is heading the Center for Child-Centric Disaster Risk Management at National Institute of Disaster Management. And he comes with a very strong disaster experience. And he's a kind of a trainer in his own way. So we will have the benefit of working with him. Then we have Advocate Gaurav Agarwal. He's also there today. So Gaurav is advocate on record in the Supreme Court, and he has been the lead person in the landmark judgment Independent Thought versus Union of India, which led to the reading down of section 375 IPC, which post which having sex with minor wife is a criminal offense of rape. So we will, and Gaurav is also part of several Supreme Court cases as amicus query, and he is one of the leading names on child rights law in the country. So we'll have benefit of him also in one of the sessions. And then we have Pradeep Narayanan. So Pradeep is director with Praxis Institute of in Delhi, and he also had something called Partners in Change. And Pradeep has a very strong research work. So we will bring in various dimensions of how child rights law and research can work together. And as Dr. Avinash said, the purpose is also to make students, it's more like a job oriented course. So it's not only an academic exercise which we are trying to do, but post this people should be skilled enough to engage directly in policy work or any other engagement on child rights activity. So with this, I would like to thank everyone again, and back to you, Survi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable ideas about this program.
Your voice is breaking, Survi.
How you introduce the program. To move forward, Manoj Kumar Sinha, who is at Indian Law Institute. He did his doctorate in international.
Surbi, all right, let me start. Avinash has already introduced me, so that is more important. And so he was, so there is no need of further introduction. And thank you very much. And thank you.
In India, sir, in India, really, you don't need any introduction because everybody knows you. If somebody doesn't know you, then I think that person should not be in legal.
No, it's not the question, but I consider that my student acknowledging that is more important than whether people know me or not know. So you have acknowledged, I'm very happy. And I told Vikram many occasions that I know Avinash a long time back, and we are very close. And I'm very happy that you have said that. So that is wonderful. So thank you very much, Avinash. First, let me start with considering the academic autonomy. That what you have said, you have given freedom to the Surabhi, you have given freedom to the Vikram to plan, think, and introduce a course. That is very important. Being a head of the institution, you did not interfere. You realize they are expert. Vikram is there, and he will plan, he will design, and that is very important. Being a head of the institution to allow the collaborating partners, teachers, and all students also to grow in their own way, and that is the wonderful. We can always guide, monitor, but academic freedom is utmost important in today's concern, and that you have done, and I appreciate deeply. Let me also acknowledge the dignitaries like Dr. Rinchen Chopal, the member committee on the rights of the child, Subrata Day, Advocate Ruchi Tawa Congo, Anjania Pandegi, Vikram, and all the participants and dignitaries online today for the child rights program. And as Avinash had said in his discussion, what is important is not only a law degree. Law student has to have a social concern. They have to deeply think about the society, and that is one of the genuine concern. Initially, all students have, they feel this is the profession where I can contribute towards the society, and I can also take care of my personal growth. So both are available in the legal field, and that is very important. And unfortunately, that somehow it's missing in the long run. People have a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges. So some of the areas are taken care by the people like Vikram and other Gaurav lawyers. So some of the MC Mehta, some people devote their entire life on the welfare of children, welfare of the women, and other things. When we talk about the certificate course, which I see is not a certificate course, it's a full-fledged 3-credit course for the law, one of the paper of the law school. So it's virtually it's a 3 credit, and which can be, you can consider next time if a student join, because today the credit can be shifted. Credit can be also so almost 40 hours, more than 40 hours Vikram has planned starting from today, and it's going to end of the May, June, I believe. So it's quite long program. So thinking about that, arranging so many speakers, planning about that, itself is a big challenge which Vikram, Avinash, and Surabhi, they have accomplished. And I'm sure that in days to come, all the students who have registered for this program, they will be highly benefited. It's not only talking about the constitutional law, it's taking care of all aspects of the laws related with the children. That is very important. It's a very comprehensive course. I'm sure all the students who have already joined this program, maybe 1 or 2 if join today or tomorrow, they will be greatly benefited by this particular course. Unfortunately, when we go in the law school, what we see, women and child are more neglected subject in the law schools. It's like, you have more traditional subjects. We are giving too much focus on environment. We are giving too much focus on the human rights law. We are discussing about the business and human rights. We are discussing about IPR, copyright. These courses have become more important. When it comes to the women rights and child rights, it's a part of some way in the criminal law, and some way, some kind of the 1 or 2 lectures, 3 lectures, more or less. But it requires a complete, comprehensive outlook, a complete dedication for the both areas, which has series of laws nationally, regionally, or internationally. And the student must be made aware of each aspects of the law. And that is very important, which is missing. Whenever I get a chance to speak or get a chance to discuss in the Bar Council, I suggest that, we have introduced mediation course, but we should have also be important courses like women and child as a separate elective courses in all the university. Maybe there are many regions, but I believe these kind of courses will educate and motivate teachers as well as the students in the future to come to consider and start introducing a courses like the child rights course in the LLB, full-fledged a complete paper, at least elective paper on the child rights law. Teachers are not sure what to teach in the child rights. So when they go into the child rights, they say, okay, one can say the constitution is sufficient. Article 21A, Article 23, Article 24, 39E, F, 45, 51K. They say, okay, these are the, some cases are there. We discuss and then child rights law is finished. So teachers, they wonder how to complete a course, how to design a syllabus for 40 hours or 50 hours classes. What the way Vikram has designed. So maybe some kind of like, teachers were not taught when they were students in the LLB and LLM comprehensively about the child related laws. And that is the reason they are finding it's very difficult to introduce a course as a elective papers in the human rights and child rights. They are very keen to introduce elective courses in the international environmental law, international human rights law, even on the intellectual property rights law, cyber law, business and human rights. You name the areas, they are jumping. Even now, international criminal law. So these are the areas. Child rights are always there, but somehow it's missing. Somehow it has not picked up, which is like, it requires serious attention of all academicians and also the non-governmental organization working in this particular field. When we talk about the child, so one can ask, one can wonder why we need law for the children. Children law is required for the protection from the abuse, from this from the care, perfectly fine. But children requires education, children requires development, children require when they grow in this society, they are integrated in this society. These are the broad areas. Welfare of the children should also become a very big, important consideration. So when we talk about the protection, but along with the protection, we have promotion also, right of the promotion of the rights of the child. We have to also focus on the promotional aspect, how a children can evolve as a full-fledged human being who has education, who has a health facility, who has employment opportunity, because they are the future. If children are not taken care of, then it's become very difficult. We have now, we are today in 2021. We have to revisit and see for the protection we have sufficient law. We have also to consider the promotion of the rights of the child, development of the rights of the child, views of the rights of the child, right to life and health of the children. These are the aspects are equally important, which we see clearly reflected under the Convention on the Rights of the Child of Man. So Convention of these rights are equally important, which are part of the Article 39E, 39F. So if we look into the Constitution, rights against exploitation, that is 23, 24. Rest of the rights are welfare rights. If you look into the Article 21, education, 39E, 39F, health and other aspects, it takes care about that. 45 again education, 51K education. So we see in the entire constitution, except 2 articles, rest of the articles are more related with the education emphasis, to focus the education. So education is the tool for the empowerment. Education is the tool to achieve whatever the goal children set for themselves. So that is very important under the constitution we have to see. But when you go into the cases, when you look into the jurisprudence is entirely different. Jurisprudence of the including the independent thought versus Union of India, that is a specific aspect. That is also very important judgment. So when we look into the judgment, it's more conflict, more on the protection oriented. So welfare oriented approach is also required, deeply required in the cases of the when it comes to the children, and it requires great attention is there. The another today is the part. So in this discussion, I just want to mention, and that because today Rinchin also will be there, and it's very important. Dr. Rinchin is here because he is working in the Committee on the Rights of the Child. Committee plays very important role, based in the I believe in Geneva or Vienna. Yes, he's based in the Geneva. Committee plays very important role when it comes to the implementation of the Convention on the Rights of the Child by the state parties. It takes care of this. So it questions the state. How far you have implemented? What are the challenges what are the difficulties and challenges of the implementation? It has a mandate to monitor the implementation of the rights of the child by the state parties. It puts a lot of questions, though it's not very effective, but still it has a lot of control over each state to ask them how they are implementing Convention on the Rights of the Child in the domestic level. So I'm very happy that Vikram has brought Rinchen, who has experience, and I request him also to involve him in one of the lecture for the Committee on the Rights of the Child, functions of the rights of the child. Committees become very important when we discuss. So we have to discuss and understand how committee functions in implementation of the Convention on the Rights by the state party. So if he agrees, that will be wonderful, and I'm sure that he'll throw some light on today's discussion about the role of the committees in implementation of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. That is it. So when we talk about the Convention on the Rights of the Child, always, and this I'll take in the next class when I'll get a chance to speak, I believe in the 10th or 11th April, that is the Article 32. Article 32, Article 32 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which speaks about, which mentions that prohibition against the economic exploitation of children. And unfortunately, a long time back, the government of India has made reservation regarding the Article 32 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Various bodies, including Committee on the Rights of Child, Human Rights Council, and other bodies, time to time have requested Government of India to reconsider its reservation regarding the Article 32 and make it applicable in the nation. So Article 32 has been the subject of great concern of various international monitoring body when it comes to the prohibition against the economic exploitation of the children. In that is there. So we have made reservation, but we made reservation long time back. That today time has come to reconsider, which has been a genuine request of a large number of states also, and also the international treaty bodies to reconsider the Article 32. Convention on the Rights of the Child. Interestingly, India is party to. There are 3 protocols. 2 protocols India have signed and ratified. So when we see India's commitment nationally or internationally, protection of the child, it's immense. It seems like it's a functioning. But when you come out from your classroom and you see on the street, you find children are everywhere. Sometimes if you go by car from Delhi to the other city, roadside, still so many laws are there. And you start pondering over what is the real laws, how things are going to change. We start questioning because of extreme poverty. This is one of the reasons, the extreme poverty. Unless we remove the poverty, the children will continue. A large number of children are still suffering. They are not getting like good facilities for education, also for the health, and forget about other things. They are in the very bad shape in the country, in the at least 40 to 50%. Desperately, there's some serious view must be taken of these ground realities. So ground reality is entirely different when we discuss in the classroom, when we discuss, analyze the case law. So I keep on saying the case laws which we have developed is a more an academic aspect. It's not in ground, it's not converting, it's not implemented effectively. It's become very interesting point for academicians to sit, lawyers also to discuss, judges also to highlight that they have given the judgment. When you look back to the judgment and you try to see reality, you find that there is a huge gap. So law and its implementation is a huge gap which consists continuously existing in the Indian system, which needs to be addressed more effectively the way number of states have achieved. Unless we achieve that gap, we build this gap, or we remove this gap, things will not going to change. We'll educate people, people will know about the law, that is perfectly fine. But same way, we have to think, we have to reconsider how to make effectively the law and ground reality changes. We have to consider the last children of the society. The children, we should not think about the school, how many schools, but we have to start thinking about the last children of the society. What are the needs or requirements? If that is there, that consideration is government takes or the non-governmental organization takes, I'm sure things will change. The conditions of school, the condition of midday meal, you can name many things. I don't want to go on the details because I see Renjan and other speakers have come here, but issues are immense, challenges are great, but there is a hope. hope because of independent thought. Independent thought believes in a hope, vision, and I'm sure that vision of Professor Avinash and all these speakers. So we all will work towards how to mitigate the suffering of the children and integrate them in the mainstream. So one day after 20 years, we feel very happy these children we have guided and things have changed. With this note, with this hope, I'm sure that all you have registered today will be very happy and greatly benefited by the eminent lectures who have been requested to come and deliver for almost 2 months to all of you, and that will be very useful for all of you. With this, I thank the organizers, Surbi, Avinash, Vikram, and also Afsana, the program coordinator of Independent Thought, for taking care of this program. Thank you very much. All the best. Over to you, Surbi.
Thank you so much, sir, for your curriculum. I plead apologies said by the Dean, sir, that you don't need introduction. Once again, thank you, sir, for your valuable information. Our next honored guest is Dr. Ajaya Pandiri, who is a trained professional social worker with 25 years of experience in development sector. As a state head, senior manager, and national thematic leader, he provides overall leadership and strategic direction with a pragmatic perspective, capacity building, designing, planning, implementation, monitoring, and budgeting of large-scale development programs, and policy advocacy in a human rights framework at the state and national level. He worked on a wide range of issues: poverty, social exclusion, land and livelihood rights, Dalit rights, tribal rights, child protection, inclusion, education, and children and persons with disabilities. It's a great pleasure to have you, sir, and I would extend my invitation to provide us practical and practitioner's perspective on the child rights.
Surbi, I think he had shared earlier that he will be in some remote place. I think he has some technical glitches. So maybe we can skip to the next speaker, and if he joins, we can request him to speak later.
Okay, sir. The next, as our special guest, we have Mr. Subrata De, country representative at Christian Aid. He is responsible for developing visions of the program, provide strategic leadership to the whole operation in a country where there's an extended long-term hostile environment. This has got components to develop, manage, empower staff to take responsibility within a devolved and decentralized regional structure. He led a process that works within corporate framework, agreed annual plans, and defined delegations of authorities. A warm welcome to you, sir, and would like to invite you for your special address.
Hello, can you hear me okay? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Namaskar and good evening to respected anchor, team members of Independent Thought, thematic experts of GLA University, and all other friends joining in today's platform. Thank you all for providing opportunity to share my views in some of the relevant issues. I congratulate iThought and GLA University team for this appropriate and timely initiative of launching certificate course on child rights law. Let's pray for highest success to you. May the association between Independent Thought and GLA University Mathura goes long way. It's a great gathering with the right kind of combination of academics and practitioners. At least two practitioners I know in this gathering. One of the finest public advocacy expert and mobilizer, Mr. Ajaya. I worked with him earlier and I cherished those days. And also Ms. Ghosh, I know her from Delhi School of Social Work days. So a whole lot of inputs have already come from speakers, and particularly Professor Manoj. Sir, I haven't studied under your leadership, but it is quite a lot of details you have shared. And though I'm not a legal expert, but then a whole lot of preparations will be required in terms of delivering child rights, and that came out. And I'm sure these inputs will help to the course operators. As I said, I'm not an expert of law or justice delivery. Neither I specifically worked in the field of child rights per se. In fact, my exposure is limited to some of the basics like Jomtien Conference, CRC, etc. Now, inputs from me will therefore revolve around various observations as part of the implementing development initiatives. I feel children, especially from marginalized sections of the society, are facing increasing level of deprivation and multiple forms of violence. The situation is more appalling in emergency context. And here I mean both natural and man-made emergencies. We, the aid workers, mostly focus on survival, food, potable water, shelter, and healthcare. At the next level, we talk about education, play, recreation, safety, security, freedom from exploitation, etc. And responses are driven by need assessment and available resources on ground. A large number of people are engaging with children's issues and trying to reduce the suffering. They are working day in and day out to make sure that no more child die with a kind of declaration that I will complain to God about all of you. I will tell him everything. This is the way the Syrian boy told to the doctor in his deathbed after the bomb attack in 2014. Or for that matter, the young boy named Alan Kurdi found dead on the beach near the Turkish resort of Bodrum while fleeing with his family towards Greece, 2015. The whole world shook with such reports and photographs, and they responded to the same with a lot of sensitivity and care. Whole lot of debates happened at national, international level. New rounds of appraisal happened, programs developed, policy changed, and authorities were made accountable. Now, this is not the first or the last such gruesome story, you know. I also do not mean that other such incidents which are not so gory are less important. There are a whole lot of reports came during COVID lockdown last year that talks about how children come last in the priority. I'm not talking about domestic decisions. I'm talking about official government decisions. Now, surely more work will be done, improvements will come, and situation will change. New generation of professionals will add value to the existing body of work. But somewhere I feel that we are yet to recognize children as a separate political constituency. Our consciousness around right in the context of child mostly revolve around delivering certain services. I mean, the mindset is more of a welfareism rather than engaging with a group of individuals having their legitimate claims. And that has to be completed under a particular framework with standard quality. The time has come that we change the expression while talking about children, that they are tomorrow's nation or tomorrow's society. Let's consider them as today's citizen, a group of right holders for whom duty bearers will have to be accountable. I feel the paradigm around child rights will transform through this kind of shift in thinking pattern. And the power dynamics will also change. Maybe something like this has already been thought and being practiced in some part of the globe, and which I do not know. Yeah, I mean, there are so many experts available, and they will be joining too, I thought, and they will be enlightening the students around that. And coming days, we'll see more improvement. But these are lofty targets, and we need more hands on ground and fresh practitioners with courage of conviction. Professor Manoj talked about it, that students come with that kind of freshness, but somewhere it changes. And so therefore, more supply of fresh blood will be required. And friends and colleagues from iThought and GLA University, you are contributing to fulfill that gap. So therefore, kudos to you. Our respected and beloved Madam, Dr. Vasudha Vasanti Dhagamvar, founder director of MARG, from where Vikram and I started our professional career, used to say that charismatic leaders and change makers like Mother Teresa comes once in a century. So it will be late when next maestro will again come. And society cannot wait for that. We need regular supply of students, professionals to continue the work on ground in their own way. And who knows, the next Mother Teresa is going to come from them. And iThought and GLA University colleagues are contributing in that direction. I'm sure more and more change makers will come from this course and help making the world a better place. Thanks a lot for allowing me to be with you in this great occasion. Thanks. Over from my side. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir, for the tagline, "We are the present citizens," and your insight, the importance of this topic at the present time. So now I move forward. Next is our advocate, Rosie Tawagongo, member of National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. She is advocate by profession and former member of Arunachal Pradesh State Commission for Women. It's our pleasure to have you, ma'am, with us, and would like to invite you for your keynote address.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Just give me a second. I'll just adjust my camera.
Sure.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say,
We lost your audio. I think there is some technical issues at her end.
She's back.
Is it all right now? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry for the disconnection. The network here in Itanagar is not that good. Again, I convey my good evenings to everybody. I met, I think, Vikram last time I was in Delhi, and I was so impressed by him that I called him to my office and told him, I was just thinking of this kind of thing for even Northeast. And I requested him to have a course like this for the people who really want to know, I congratulate both the university and Independent Thought for having such a comprehensive syllabus that you're having for the certificate course. I think I will also be joining the course from tomorrow, from next week, perhaps. In today's time, as my 10 years of experience in children and women field, I really feel that, somewhere, even our syllabus as an LLB student, we never had this kind of exposure to children or women laws. We only had some moot courts, or we had some legal awareness program where we were asked to choose a particular topic on women, and that was not sufficient. Those people who have learned the basic laws of children or basic laws of women would be from their own interest by doing themselves. There was nobody to teach them. But with a course like this, it is a wonderful for the people of coming generation. As a member of NCPCR also, from time to time, I'm struggling with new laws coming up, with new rules coming up, and and telling to others. As a person from Northeast, I have to tell you that child rights is very new in the Northeast, and many people even ask me, "Isme kya karna hai, usme kya karna hai?" And you people bringing this kind of course, I must say, it's a wonderful thing. Like the previous speaker was telling, Mother Teresa was, the kind of leadership the Mother Teresa had and other people. I think somewhere, they also need a kind of direction. They also need somebody to tell them that aisa karne se acha hoga karke. And I have no words to tell you people. I think this is just the beginning, and with new courses coming up, it would be very good. Substantially, I would like to request Independent Thought that they should come up with a syllabus for district magistrates who are mostly responsible or the head of the child right issues at the district, and for DCPUs or CWCs, as I requested Vikram also last time, they should have a syllabus for that also, कि जो नया member आता है उसको फिर करे. I would also like to request you people to have a YouTube tutorial, so we can also refer to them after the course is done, when there is a need of that. And I would like to request Independent Thought people to Arunachal Pradesh that whenever they think that it is very good time for them to come after Corona, I would love to host you people here for for child rights issues and other things. Saying this, last not the least, I would also like to congratulate all the people, and I would like to request all the people who want to join this course. They have to join. There is a shortage of manpower to work in child rights field also. There is a shortage of people expert in these things, and creating a human resource would directly or indirectly mean helping a children. And therefore, I think we all should take up the course, and also the coming endeavor of yours should be a successful one. May God bless you all, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable blessings and your informations. To move further, our next chief guest is Dr. Rinchan Chopal. He is the Director General of the South Asia Initiative to End Violence Against Children. He is a medical doctor by profession. Previously, he was held the position of Executive Director of the National Commission for Women and Children, the Royal Government of Bhutan, and has championed the promotion and protection of the rights of women and children with distinction. At the regional level, he is a well-known and highly regarded expert on gender and human rights and supported many agencies, including the SARC Secretariat in many key regional projects and initiatives. He has extensive experience in working with the Ministry of Women and Children of the government in South Asia, as well as with the UN, NGOs, and research organizations in the SARC regions. A warm welcome to you, sir, and would like to invite you for your inaugural address.
Thank you, Honorable Moderator. I bring you greetings from Bhutan. It may not be out of order to say from the land of gross national happiness. I owe this privilege of participating in this event to my very good friend Vikram from Independent Thoughts. We are constantly in touch, always arguing about various issues that affect children in not just India but in the region and beyond. I'm also very honored to be in the presence of so many distinguished people in this event. Some I know quite well. Some I had the privilege of meeting, like Professor Manoj Sinha. I have also had the privilege of hearing about some of the others who have been here, like our distinguished member of the NCPCR from Northeast. It's good to have someone familiar in the Northeast now. So where do I start? Everything that I thought I could touch on has been already covered. All the emphasis that I thought I should make has already been made. So I guess that's why chief guests always come with a prepared text and just rattle it and get it done with. But I've never developed that habit. And so what I'm going to do is try and weave my way through for the next 10 minutes or so that I actually do not, repeat what the previous speakers have said, but nevertheless still try and focus on how critical it has become for all of us in this day and age to reinvent our thought processes, our philosophies. Even in a way, there are a lot of arguments about how the whole spirituality about our discourse on children needs to be reinvented. Why so? Some very hardcore critics now are talking about why democracy is no longer something that we are so, desperately reaching out to as the means of a system that provides for, enjoyment of freedom and rights and, with whatever is happening now in our world. In the recent events in the United States have put a damper on that spirit. And what is happening now in the different election, campaigns very close to Bhutan, in Bengal and Assam, sometimes you wonder whether this is the type of world we would like to hand over to our children. Is this the type of spirit of humanity that we want our children to follow? Is this what our children will be excited about in the future? So I think we are going through an extremely difficult phase in our lives. The COVID pandemic has unleashed, you know, terrible humanitarian crisis all over the world. And we all have directly or indirectly experienced that. But the impact on children, women, and vulnerable segments of our population has been just unthinkable. And today, as we keep aspiring for a better 21, we are now on the threshold of another, wave that is most likely going to derail a lot of our aspirations. So for me, someone who has been trying to drive this regional movement to end violence against children, and having had some measure of success in the last 10 years in terms of moving this violence against children movement forward, where we look at child marriage, we look at trafficking, child labor, sexual abuse and exploitation, corporal punishment, trying to address issues of gender, disability, trying to ensure that children are consulted, brought into mainstream discourse. Everything is again now almost like on the drawing board. A lot of the things that we thought are working seem to be no longer the type of responses or type of interventions we need to create. So therefore, we are at a stage where we need to now get our child rights foot soldiers or child rights community, people who are actually involved in, not just programming and policy formulations, but also in terms of creating that strategic interventions on the ground. We need them to be able to assess their, ground realities in a much better perspective. And for getting them to do that, what we need is for them to be fully equipped with the knowledge and know-how and tools that will make them effective strategists, advocates, and lobbyists, and activists for that matter. So this course that GLA and Independent Thoughts has put together, I am so envious that I could not do it before. I would have loved to start something like this long time back. It's not because I did not try. I tried, but somehow I just could not get it started. And when I heard about this from Vikram, it was almost like I was like a boy with a lot of my first lollipop. I was so excited about it. And I'm so glad that it has become a reality now. And I'm happy that I'm in this event that is seeing the beginning of this wonderful course that will start. I spent a lot of time in universities, colleges, talking on child rights, talking on human rights, talking on what human rights means to us in Asia. What does human rights mean to me and my family and our communities? Is it about trying to encourage people around you and in your communities to have better respect for others, enjoy the freedom without encroaching on others' freedom? Or is it about what we see every day on television or experience on the ground? Tire burning, breaking glasses, looting shops, shouting, profanities, cursing your own country or your own, race. I think we need to be able to inculcate in ourselves what rights is all about. And once we do that, then I think if we can actually build a community of, advocates who understand what child rights is all about is not telling children, you have rights, so do whatever you want. I think that is the tragedy we have. Everybody talks about rights. We forget to put the emphasis that is needed to put on responsibilities. So therefore, I think I looked at the course time and again, and I'm happy that you are addressing so many different aspects of child rights and the primary focus on child rights law. And as some of the speakers directly and indirectly touched on this, we also have an issue where the justice system gets handed to them a set of laws or articles that they have to interpret, which are put together in the parliaments, or, you know, it's the legislative who builds these justice instruments, and the justice institutions interpret them. And I think that's where you need to find an, you know, harmony in terms of how you are going to get the child rights community to be able to balance both sides in a way that can provide justice to children. So I think that is something that I am trying very hard to talk to in the universities. And, you know, currently I'm taking classes in the Jigme Singye Wangchuk Law School in Bhutan, talking to them about how to demystify the so-called human rights, make it relevant for every day of our lives, and at the end of the day, look at rights as the ultimate beginning of appreciating freedom and happiness and peace. So I think these are things that I thought I would touch on without getting into articles of the CRC and where each country is related to the reporting on the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Now, Professor Manoj Sinha did raise the issue about the CRC treaty body or the committee, and the role of the treaty body committee. You know, for example, every country, the CRC, of course, is the most ratified instrument of all the treaty bodies, treaty instruments. And we have now currently 10 treaty bodies, out of which CRC I consider as one of the most important ones, because this deals with children. And if we deal with the CRC properly and adequately, then I think it has a positive impact on every. So from that point of view, it's not just because I am a member of the CRC committee, but before even becoming a member of the committee, I've always taken that stand that dealing with children and dealing with children's rights and holding governments accountable in terms of their obligations to children is ultimately what will dictate in terms of the future of humanity, or for that matter, every nation, every community, every family. So ensuring that we have an effective treaty body mechanism and ensuring that the CRC committee actually holds very close review and monitoring of countries' obligations and commitments and fulfillment of those commitments, as Professor Manoj Sinha said, is the yardstick by which we can push the state institutions, the political mechanisms, and all other stakeholders to actually do the right thing for our children. But as we all know, you know, we are going through an extremely difficult time. I am trying to make sure after a long gap, almost over a decade, trying to take the voices of children of Asia to the global platform. And fortunately, I'm also now moving in as the focal point for Asia in the CRC committee. That includes both South Asia and ASEAN and other, you know, Asian nations that don't come within South Asia and ASEAN. And I'm going to do my best to make adequate amount of noise at the global level to ensure that children of Asia's voices are heard. But the only way we can ensure that whatever is being dealt with by the treaty bodies and whatever all the child rights community, foot soldiers, or actors are undertaking in their respective professions or organizations, we can only make that much impact and improve the lives of children if we are able to fine-tune our focus, our lobbies, our advocacies, and ensure that we work closely with the state institutions, political institutions, other key stakeholders like the justice system, the law enforcement, the legislative group, and all others, not to forget the interfaith and other groups, so that at the end, we have a comprehensive strategy to address them. And all others can join hands and hold our governments and our state institutions accountable. So for someone like me who has spent now over close to 2.5 decades in this profession, and from a national level, I moved to a regional level, now I'm moving to a global level without losing my responsibilities at the regional level. Initiatives like this course by GLA and Independent Thoughts and all those very prominent faculty members who are going to be responsible to impart that training. I sometimes wish I had a course like this when I started off my career. But I hope that at some point I will also have an opportunity to also interact with your students and see if I can also contribute in creating a better understanding of how we should work together to make that global treaty mechanism relevant for us on the ground. It should not be someone who is sitting in Geneva looking at what we are giving to them and passing judgment. I think this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to get to the committee, so that there is a relevance of the decisions taken, review done in that platform with the work that is going on the ground, and then fine-tune it to make it much more harmony with the issues and challenges on the ground. And finally, before Vikram or the honorable moderator asked me to shut up, I want to also express my appreciation to the member of the NCPCR. I hope that with her interest in strengthening this in the Northeast, and with my interest also to strengthen the understanding of child rights law and human rights in general in Bhutan and other countries of the region, that we'll be able to work together. And I'm sure with Vikram and honorable member and myself, we can also discuss in the days to come. And at the end, I fold my hands to GLA University and your child rights law training team and Independent Thoughts for this wonderful initiative. God bless you all.
Thank you, Dr. Rinchan. Thank you so much for enlightening everyone. And anyone who knows you knows the kind of commitment and passion you carry for child rights, and the way you have been steering the whole movement in the Southeast Asia. And we are all hopeful that the voices will be heard in the most resounding manner at the UN now. And your presence for next 4-5 years, I know it will change the face of child rights in the whole region in Asia. So thank you so much for your intervention. And as we discussed, we will be doing so. We will be catching you again for some talk show. where the whole way the UN works and your own perspective and experience, how as a guidance for all child rights activists and organizations. So we will surely be involving you and seeking your time, and very soon, maybe within April. Thank you, sir. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, sir. Vikram sir, should we wait for Anjaya sir?
No, I think we should go by. I don't think he will be able to join. Rest everyone had. So he had already expressed. He had shared with me on personal level that there's some network issues in a very remote village. So.
Okay, so before ending the webinar, I would like to extend my gratitude to all the respective dignitaries. We'll like to thanks again for their fruitful insights. I would like to thank the participants also. I wish all the best for the upcoming sessions, and it will be seen that they will be equally informative. We will see you tomorrow with a brief introduction about the program as how and what we have for you all.